darling. Many of you... Yeah, right. She's been with Avalon Rising for a number of years. So many of you have probably seen her around, but probably what a lot of you don't understand is that not much more than 10 years ago, she was quite ill.
I wasn't very well, and I don't retain things now. So I have to write things down, and he's very proud of me, is what he wants to say. And if he says anything more, I'll strangle him. So, can everybody hear me? Okay, right. Ando, get to your job.
Hold on, where's my bits? Back of yours.
God.
Both of them.
Hi everyone, I am really nervous, and I've never done this before, and I've only had a week to get this ready. So please bear with me if I sweat or cry or need a wee, and give me some encouragement or stop me from waffling. I'm here to share some of my experiences with you about water. I'm here to share some experiences of my own about water. And tonight's presentation is dedicated to Sunbird. He's a shiny vibration, no matter in what form. Paul James Towers, or Sunbird, as a lot of us knew him by, wasn't an angel, but he certainly left an impression wherever he went, and upon the people he touched along the way. I knew him for 12 years, and I didn't know he was seriously into water until after his death, so I never got to share this passion with him. His passion, though, gave birth to my talk tonight, and the culmination of years of my own personal interest. The bottle over there holds some of Sunbird's water legacy. After this talk, we'll be holding a short water blessing in the stone circle that would be fun and short. You'll enjoy it. Honouring his passing a year ago today. And then we'll be showing a short film of his from 2012 talk, around 7ish. So here's to Sonny. He died last year but left his own water legacy. He was a great inspiration, full of energy and ideas, running many festival spaces with so many people alongside him through thick and thin. And his message overall was love, that water carries so many memories, and love is the main thing. It makes the world go round. His lorry crashed in the Alps on his way to create another beautiful festival experience for people. But we still celebrate his life and all that he was, a fizzy, flowing energy of love and smiles mostly. He collected world waters from over 10,000 sacred sources throughout the last 19 years of his life. He carried them, shared them, and added to them and honoured them. We set up a Facebook page called Sunbird's Water Legacy to carry on his work and to encourage people to share those waters again, adding them to them and sending them out around the world, and receiving new positively charged and alive waters, allowing people to stay in touch and share their experiences. These waters are networked around the world, carrying love, tears, dance, smiles, many memories, and a great vibe. Long may the love flow. The base of these waters are taken from Chalice Well, the Red Spring, and from the White Spring in Glastonbury, UK, said to be the heart chakra of the world. The holy waters of our own spring, which has the St. Michael line meandering through it. And these waters work on a homeopathic level. You can carry them with you, have them on your altar, or use them in many ways, blessings, etc. We have water available for people to take a small sample in their own vial, or have necklaces made up at the back. And there's water in bottles for you to share and add to. Vibration never dies. It just plays its tune into differing shapes and materials. Nikola Tesla told us, if you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. He's one of my heroes. Everything emits and exists in a unique vibration that is usually visible. Can everybody read that? Existence is vibration. When we separate something into its smallest parts, we always enter a strange world where all that exists is particles and waves. The fact that everything is in a state of vibration also means that everything is creating sound. And as sound is created, there is a master listener to receive the sound, which is water. That is by Masaru Emoto. Dr. Emoto, I was lucky enough to have the honour of meeting him and going to one of his talks. He's a renowned scientist who from 1995 documented and photographed, when frozen, the molecular changes in water to expand our view of its consciousness. Here's a small 3-minute version of some of his work. His work sparkled my journey into the magical world of this amazing, underestimated substance. Water takes on the resonance of energy that it comes across or is exposed to. Happy, joy, content, love, etc. create beautiful, pleasing ice crystals when frozen, as compared to staccato, disjointed, ugly formations when exposed to hate or disinterest or crappy thrash metal music. That's my view. This is when, then, passed on to what the water comes into contact with. Bacteria and mould grew from bad or upset water, and other stuff flourished from loved and cared for water. Plants, when talked to, don't just thrive from the carbon dioxide we breathe at it. Like us, they're a high percentage of water, and that water is directly affected by our thoughts, aura, and intent. Plants have been known to recoil from evildoers. For example, someone testing, I think I read this in The Secret Life of Plants, burnt a fag cigarette onto a leaf of one plant, when in the room next door, another plant physically shook. And you don't have to be a hippie to know that vibes are felt. I certainly react badly to certain people, jazz, and bell ringers. I feel it in my solar plexus, and it really screws me up physically and mentally. I don't resonate with it. Vibration carries through water, and we are all connected and all have a high content of water. We do not exist in this world. We are of it, all intertwined by like the life of trees and their underworld magical mycelium connecting highways, all dependent and connected in a big way through water. Do you know that we are all of water, every living thing? All living things on a vibrational level, picking up and passing on feelings. Dr. Emoto did a test on 3 beakers of rice and water over a month. Each day to the first one, he said, "Thank you." To the second one, "You are an idiot." And to the third, he completely ignored it. Here's a short video of that.
Dr. Emoto has conducted another interesting experiment. He placed rice into 3 glass beakers and covered it with water. And then every day for a month, he said, "Thank you" to one beaker, "You're an idiot" to the second, and the third one he completely ignored. After 1 month, the rice that had been thanked began to ferment, giving off a strong, pleasant aroma. The rice in the second beaker turned black, and the rice that was ignored began to rot. Dr. Emoto thinks that this experiment provides an important lesson, especially with regard to how we treat children. We should take care of them, give them attention, and converse with them. Indifference does the greatest harm.
Tell some dreamy story, but almost.
Okay. This works the same with people. Our kids, as he says, our gardens and our environment. You can walk in and feel the vibe in a lot of places where there's been an argument. Indifference harms as much as spite, just in a different way. It's thought that we are 70 to 80% water at different times of our lives. So what do you think our thoughts do to us? You know, not just what we project at someone else, but what we think about ourselves. We are our own creators. So let's think ourselves and be the best that we can. You can start this on a really small thing by just blessing your water, everything that you take into your body. The more profound and sincere your intent, the longer it holds on to it powerfully. There'll be a time later for you all to be able to share some of the good thoughts with the waters that we have here, and also to put blessings into the stone circle if you wish. So what is structured water? It's not that circle. It's water that's alive, neutral, and cleaned of memory. How's this happen? Nature does it in its own fabulous way, and man tries, badly usually, to copy it, but we're all learning all the time. The natural action of water tumbling over rocks, down waterfalls, flowing through twists and turns, as it actively descends a mountain, actually restructures the water. Water molecules are free to move and dance with nature. It's an energetically alive and a fresh and a vibrant manner. Through this process, the molecular structure of water is changed to reflect less tension, surface tension, neutralise toxins, and clear memory and enable it to rebalance on a particle level. Water as a primary element is connected to everything. There isn't anything on Earth that doesn't use water as part of its process in creating life. All cells are water-based. We grow in a bag of water. We usually look to water and sit by it to recharge our batteries or for peace. Therefore, as water is the connector to all living things, it's important to return its water to the original form by allowing it to restructure, to re-energize. Did you know that water going through a chemical cleaning plant system is reprocessed up to 23 times before it evaporates, and that's what we drink, carrying every memory it's ever experienced? It may be safe to drink, but do you think it's healthy or alive? The water comes into our homes forced and held in right-angled pipes and is the most unnatural and dead in energy. Nature's design creates a flow as it connects with life. Don't you feel better when going with the flow yourself? Life's flowing. The result of this structured water, this kind of water has more energy and offers increased hydration for people, animals and plants. It's actually heavier and wetter. We've bought some spring water that you can try later. You really feel your thirst is quenched rather than just having to drink loads and having a belly full of water sloshing about, still feeling thirsty. Using structured water also helps plants and people to grow and to heal, and 20% less is needed for irrigation. In fact, studies show that not only strawberry plants watered by this higher vibrational alive water grew bigger and healthier fruits and had a better taste, but those in the surrounding areas that were not watered by it also had the same better qualities and being healthier fruits and reacted in the same way even though it wasn't touched. So this happens by osmosis. So if you feel better, the next person feels better, and it touches all of us. It affects not only the frequency of the plant or the person that receives it, but those associated around it. And the blokey bit here, using structured water in concrete, cures it in 4 days instead of 28 days and is twice as strong, which is pretty good, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Cuts down a lot of work time if we use some decent, healthy water. Sorry how small these are. Humans' characteristics can also change when taking in structured water, or even just when bathing in it. As ailing beings, we lose our electrical charge. Hearts, lungs, disease happens, but after only 12 minutes of drinking this water, our blood cells become more buoyant, and the electrolytes return to a healthier state. Blood becomes less sticky and more free-flowing, and the pH balance is restored. You can look up tests on Kangen water if you want to look into it. So I've just got in touch with a place in Missouri, USA called the Hall of Waters. It was built upon an ancient Indian meeting place where all the tribes used to get together. They laid down their weapons and they bathed together in these sacred healing waters, full of so many different minerals. It's a very special place that when built offered many healing practices, and it's hoped to be open to the public again, with its waters freely available. In its heydays in the 30s, they were serving up to 10 differing types of strengths of minerals at the world's longest bar.
Apologies for the size of that.
That's a postcard. Do you know that even bottled water can be dead water? Yet spring water is loaded with natural energy, and all animals, and even your cat, will only ever drink living water. You can put 3 drops of iodine into water to check its alkaline levels. This is the long bar, and the lights were fashioned after one of Tesla's ideas of his electricity. We are 7.35% blood pH level, and Evian water is the nearest at 7.8%. Acidity in the blood causes inflammation in the body. Cancer cells feed on acid, give them an alkaline environment, and they die. Even just starting your day with hot water and a slice of lemon, even though that's acid, it helps alkalize your bloodstream. Give it a go along with some positive thoughts. It's healing and it's cleansing. We're nothing without water. not only would we shrivel and die, but we can't flourish and grow without enough of the stuff, and the healthy stuff. Same as the grass you sat on, the trees, the plants, the animals, all as important and interconnected as each other, and all affected by the deeds and the moods and the intent of the water content and the type. There are so many different types, holding different properties and minerals contents. It really is amazing just what we can achieve within the working or spiritual association with water. Did you know that all elements on the periodic table are programmed to be well, including water? They heal back to the original intended purpose and the healthy state. They're not meant to be unwell. It's not the natural order. There's a story of a bloke called Gustave Le Bon who was said to be able to cleanse or heal bad waters. I think I read this in The Secret Life of Plants, or maybe Bella, I'm not sure, but no. Secret Life of Plants is over there if you want to look it up. Anyway, so he had a go at some really bad, gammy, stinky water, fish all dead, etc. He put into this water a tube, and from around that tube, after a time, 3 years in total, the water had cleared, but it started around that tube. Algae cleared up, better oxygen levels expanded from that area. Fish were able to be reintroduced and lived and life happened happily in that pond. What he had placed in the tube was a piece of wood. He had set an intention into that piece of wood. He bombarded it with certain Tesla frequencies or thoughts and electricity as well, causing the information in the wood to expand and to share that information. He asked or programmed or wished it to be well, and in turn this had healing effects on the water around it, same as prayer. It returned to its state of well-being, it spoke to the water and it reminded it to be well, and that was his whole explanation. The story was about a man communicating with an element, wood, and that programmed, or I'd like to say wished upon wood, communicating that's with water. So is that spooky or natural? Yet everything that contains water has a memory. It can tell you its history. The cell holds data, and your brain is full of water, and both the water and that which we hold is full of all of the information going back right to the beginning of time, and we can tap into that. Water on a molecular level is like a tiny, living, programmable computer. You can change it. It's amazing. Water's molecules are alive, and we can communicate both ways, it with us with it. Set your intent towards it, and it'll pick it up. And it'll affect all of the cells, plant, human, animal, tree, it comes into contact with. You don't have to be a witch to do this. These intentions or wishes and messages travel through and are conducted by water. But that's magic. The magic is simply the intent to direct energy. And it's all there, all around us. We just have to tap into it again, or pull it towards us and direct it. The same kind of thing happens when we dowse. We pick up on a vibration that is always there, all around us. And again, we tap into it. We let it flow through us, and whatever we're using to convey those messages, whether it be a pendulum or your chosen tool or rods, we learn to read and communicate with the energies. All bodies containing water are affected by currents and magnetic forces, and I'm sure that Sean will teach you to dowse if you ask him. He's around here somewhere. Did you know this magical substance is the only stuff on Earth that can be present in 3 completely different states? Gas, liquid, and solid, ice. So water expands by completely changing its chemical bonds between the hydrogen and the oxygen. There's a crystal lattice that's created, making it 9% less dense than flowing water, which is why it floats. Besides mercury, it's got the highest surface tension of all liquids, and it's the world's best solvent. And against all odds of gravity and compression, it rises upwards through trees. So it's not bad for something we take for granted. The molecular structure of water is very important. This changes continually on its path. It remembers chemicals, of which we have over 24,000 regulated ones in the world. DDT, if you remember that, is in every one of us because it's been passed through all of our cells. Water picks up and stores all of the information in case it ever might need it, whether it's good or bad. We have the choice to expel and let go of all that no longer serves us. And each time you go for a wee, let go of anything negative. As you put more water in, make it positive. You pollute your own waters and cells with negative thoughts, and each time you have a drink, make a wish, put in a healthy thought. So as I've said, water reacts to thoughts, emotion and speech, and it remembers all that happened in the space that surrounds it. And again, our intent is the oldest magic known to us. Sometimes the old adage of be careful what you wish for comes into its own. The understanding of just how the universe works. We are all and give, receive and send messages, and the universe acts on them. We can do and affect our surroundings with our moods and wishes. I can feel it in my waters. You tap into something. You pick up on a vibe. Life flows. Anything else that anyone can think of that we use water in an interpretation of what we mean? We have floods of tears. Still waters run deep. Do you know that after a massive catastrophe, an earthquake or a bomb or a tsunami, water is bothered and it's distasteful. It tastes different. The water is shocked for at least 30 days, even if the ground is then stable. The brain is 85% water and the bioplasm is also disrupted. The drive to live diminishes and more suicides occur in the next 30 days after something massive that's happened. When one loved life partner dies, the other healthy partner can also lose the will and close off the electrical pulses needed within the cells for renewal. They die within 3 months, not just of a broken heart, but of choosing to turn off their regenerating impulses. Aborigines can do this at will when they choose to let go of this life too. There is a network which is critical to the survival of the planet Earth and all of us. It's not a network of mobile phone masts, cable lines, oil or gas or motorways. And I'm not on about a network on the surface of the Earth. It's not transmitted above Earth and it's not man-made. This network is subterranean and functions as the arteries and veins of the Earth, as it has for millions of years, connecting all of us with the heart of our planet. This network is a physical, palpable, energetic, magnetic and vibrational pulse. You can feel it. The network contains nature's most important resource, spring water, of which we've brought you some for later. Where these waters exist and combine energetically and under the pressure of Earth's natural minerals, they're the rarest waters of all. The places they pass through were created thousands and millions of years ago, untouched by man. This natural mineral water from geological source is one of the most precious gifts of the universe to us, and it's protected from some of the crap that we inflict and some of what happens on the Earth's surface. Many of us know that the Earth is made up of more water, H2O, than land, and the human body needs water to support its life. Water is a necessary element for life of humans, plants and other living creatures, as we all share this as our home. It's an essential part of living, which is why it needs to be conserved and taken care of to ensure that the humans and other life forms can continue to survive and thrive on this planet. When humans are born, they contain about 80% of water, and as time goes on, this water seems to dehydrate as many people only contain around 50% of water at death. Chronic dehydration is a serious issue, and especially in older adults. Nearly all of us, even sitting here, are dehydrated, so please take some after. When you actually feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. You're nearly at it. When did you last have a drink? The water that we've brought with us today are from local sacred sources around Glastonbury, the Red and the White Springs, and also our own spring. It's also been beside Sunbird's water and held in esteem. Just before you do drink it, pause and set a lovely intention into it, or write something positive on the sticker and leave it around, and we'll hold it with Sunbird's water. There's a bloke called Rostam Roy. He says that the molecular makeup of water is the alphabet of water, and we can construct the words or learn its language. Yet here it is in the picture form, communicating with us. These are from Dr. Emoto's work of freezing ice after it's had a word or a meaning what's the word? Put to it. It doesn't matter whether it's in French, American, English, Japanese, or whatever. Again, we go back to, it's all in the meaning of the word. It's in the intent, and that's where the magic lays. We absorb and lose loads of water through our biggest organ, our skin. So really be careful out in the sun. Enjoy it, but stay hydrated. Good hydration is necessary for proper body functioning, including eliminating waste, aiding arthritis, many other ailments, and allows the brain to function at its best. There's some evidence here that proves that water has some form of memory. And scientists have wondered for ages what the properties of this necessary substance are. And although it's been acknowledged that hydrogen and oxygen are the makeup for water, there's so much more to this brilliant magical substance than we ever imagined. A scientist, Jacques Benevist, has been studying water and has found two mysterious properties of it. If a substance is dissolved in water, this water will carry the memories of that property, even if the molecules of the added substance are no longer detectable. We can't detect it, but it's still there in the water. The molecules of a substance have a frequency spectrum, and if the spectrum is digitally recorded and added to pure water, the water will retain its knowledge of the actual substance and will also act as if that substance has been added to it. It's only 1 part in 100 million is needed. Since water seems to have some kind of memory, when it is polluted with contaminants, the water cells carry the memories of the properties of these contaminants, and even after the contaminants are filtered out, therefore not being of the greatest benefit, health to some. Or is it? Have you heard of colloidal silver? Yes, it's used by hippies alike, but also by the army, curing and clearing bacteria. And again, there only needs to be parts per 100 million for that water to hold the properties, healing as well as detrimental. This is also what Bach's flower remedies are based on, and they are used worldwide. This is the first form of emergency treatment for shock and distress sent out to disaster areas. Even NASA are getting into programmed water. They played the sounds of the sun, which is a kind of when it's speeded up, and got a beautiful 6-pointed star. I couldn't find that, so I gave you this picture instead. And have you heard of the art of sacred geometry? Right, all of the pictures around you are by this amazing lady at the back of the room called Louise. And she will tell you much more in her talks about sacred geometry. But all of these can be found in the universe, the vibrational patterns everywhere. Right, water having a memory has been documented for at least the past 200 years and has been known of, no doubt, very much longer, thousands of years. Samuel Hahnemann, born 1755, helped develop this highly respected vibrational medicinal knowledge, which is the world's widest medical system after acupuncture. There's always been power in holy water. Water blessings, consecrations, bodies cleansed and reborn. It's an ancient knowledge. These mysterious powers of water are important to acknowledge because they can help us understand why water has strong healing properties and why it's essential for life to exist. Unfortunately, our healthy water supplies are being depleted at an alarming rate. Conservation efforts are at a disadvantage because we've already depleted so much of our fresh water. Right now, there are pharmaceuticals amongst loads of other crap in drinking water, which there's no water treatment plant or centre that was ever designed to remove these toxins. They're not classed as toxins. Our drinking water is holding the properties of contaminants in its memory, and this can affect our health. Fresh water that is safe for drinking is being contaminated by drugs, birth control, hormones, sodium fluoride, and other added elements that are simply unnecessary and even harmful, especially through fracking. But that's an entirely different topic on its own, which they're talking about over that side of the field. Learning the findings of this study should alarm us even further because it's been proved that we cannot simply purify contaminants in water and think that the water is back to its origin and its original natural state. Once a foreign element has been added, the water retains this energy of the foreign element and will mimic the element as if it was still present. Right, the Big Bang and all that. Consciousness existed before hydrogen and oxygen got together. There is a special picture coming up. There's lots of emotion, healing, love, death. This piece of water was frozen. It was taken to Stanton Drew Stone Circle, and Andy got it out the freezer, and as it was defrosting, he just took some photos. Is it on this zoomed in? I don't know if you can see it. As we got closer and zoomed in, can you see there's a heart? Don't know if you can see it.
Right in the centre.
Little tiny one. And I think you just got to look around you and actually find the love, really, especially if you're going through floods of tears or emotions, and see what's held secretly. So what is water consciousness? Is it your consciousness of water, how we treat it, how you are aware of its properties, or is it your perception, or is it like a living thing? Dr. Masaru Emoto also performed experiments that involved speaking to water and observing the effects of various exposures to water, including prayer, music, environmental elements. And this supports the idea that water is an intelligent element. For example, the words, "you make me sick, I will kill you," etc., make the water freeze into ugly asymmetrical forms that didn't have any real shape or even a pattern. The words thank you, love, appreciation, let's formed beautiful and symmetrical patterns that very much resembled snowflakes. Every single snowflake that falls is different, has a different pattern. As you can tell, the water labelled with positive words is far more symmetrical and aesthetically pleasing than the labels with dark, negative phrases. When the water was exposed to Beethoven and Mozart, the water crystals were transformed into the shapes of flowers or diamonds. Water responds to the vibration of music or sound, and the forms shaped depending on the sound vibrations. These water memory experiments shows that water may not just be a hippie tree hugger's belief, and it has a consciousness of its surroundings. It holds on to it. According to Emoto, when clear tubes of water are placed over positive and negative words, the structure of the crystal changes, even if you don't say anything. The water increases in beauty when placed over the word peace, but transformed into ugly crystals when placed over the word war. When water is placed over the word let's, or anything is possible, the crystals expand and increase in beauty. However, if it's placed over the word must, which often we use with our children. So, do this, we must do that. The crystals become ugly with a dark green centre. So sometimes let's, even if you bribe them, might work better in a healthier way. Emoto says that water is letting us know and realise the hidden power of words. These experiments are testament to the intelligence and consciousness of water. Too often we believe that humans are the only conscious beings on the planet, and therefore we can take advantage of the resources to the extent that we decide. However, water truly is an amazing element, and humans need to learn to respect all the earth and its elements so that we can continue to live in this planet in harmony. It's a small video, so I can shut up. While he does that, the water's at the back of the room. There's a young man who was making up the water bottles from the red and the white springs, taken at equinox, the water was. So you have an equal balance of male, female, yin, yang, red, white. And while he's been off work, so he wanted to do something creative. So, and he has seizures, so he would light a candle and hold his intent of love and best intentions to put into the water. He did a great job.
Every one of water's properties is unique, and they do not easily fit into the generally accepted laws of physics. Science has not yet been able to answer the question of why water is the only substance on the planet that can exist in three states: liquid, solid, and gaseous. Why does water have the highest surface tension of all liquids? Why is it the most powerful solvent on Earth? And how, in defiance of the Earth's gravity, is water able to rise through the trunks of gigantic trees against tens of atmospheres of pressure? Water has memory. Experiments done in many countries around the world have shown that water receives and makes an imprint of any outside influence, remembering everything that occurs in the space that surrounds it. Any substance coming into contact with water leaves a trace in the water. Had our ancestors guessed this when they used silver vessels to turn ordinary water into healing water?
It is today the best antibiotic that is made, as good in Afghanistan and Iraq. The American army uses this water, 1 atom per 100 million, to kill all the germs in a wound. So the President of the United States uses this water to keep infectious bugs from his hand. So I said, how can this water be?
As it records information, water acquires new properties, yet its chemical composition remains unchanged.
So their theory was the chemical composition of the water is important. Now the sensational news is that that is nonsense. The structure of water is much more important than the chemical composition.
The structure of water means how its molecules are organized. We can see how water molecules join together into groups. These are called clusters. Scientists came up with the idea that these clusters work as memory cells of a certain sort, in which water recalls the whole history of its relationship with the world as if on magnetic tape.
If you consider a cluster as a group of specific molecules, then it can survive only a short amount of time. But if you consider it as a structure whereby molecules can leave and other molecules come in, the cluster can last effectively for a very long time.
The stability of the cluster structures confirmed the hypothesis that water is capable of recording and storing information.
It may be the single most malleable computer, which can, it's like a computer memory. It's the memory of information. We must know how it is arranged. It is like the alphabet. If I give you the alphabet, you don't know a word, you don't know a letter, you don't know a sentence. So the molecular structure is the alphabet of water. And you must make a sentence out of water, and you can change the sentence.
Depending on age, a human being is 70 to 90% made of water. An adult drinks approximately 2.5 liters of water each day in order to sustain his normal life functions. Another 1.5 liters is absorbed through the skin during bathing or showering. Water makes a long and difficult journey before arriving in our homes. It used to be common knowledge that settlement could only occur where there was a natural source of water. Today, whether or not there is water in a place is of no importance because we transport water for thousands of kilometers using high pressure. In nature, rivers and streams always flow along a smoothly curving course. But any water supply system has multiple right-angle turns. The natural structure of the water breaks down more and more with each such turn. Water from a water supply system which flows into our homes through pipes has various forms, crystals of various forms, but they're all deformed. That is, it may look like this, it can look this way, or have these crystals and many other arrangements, but you won't see any symmetry or beauty. It is well known that the water supply in many large cities is a closed-loop system. After undergoing aggressive chemical purification and passing through powerful filters, the water in these systems is returned to our homes, still remembering the chemicals and the violence it was subjected to. Even stronger, however, is the informational pollution that water accumulates as it flows down kilometers-long pipes through thousands and thousands of houses and apartments. Nowhere in the world is the water the same. Breaking its way to the surface, through minerals and ores, water assimilates the vibrations of the soil and information about its specific biological and energetical features. We tested this absolutely marvelous water, which is sold in large bottles, and the producer puts a label on them which says it's the best water in the world, but it is empty and dead. True, it's pure and it's good, and some minerals have been added, but this is dead water in which there is no energetics and there is no life. Most likely, people do not sense any particular difference between naturally pure and artificially purified water. But any animal will always choose water from a spring, because this water is loaded with natural energies. In 1995, Dr. Emoto Masaru was the first one to record musical impressions on water. In Dr. Emoto Masaru's laboratory, they allowed water to listen to music, after which they flash froze the water. And then, under the microscope, they could clearly see the crystals that the water had formed. Here is what the music of Bach looks like. Mozart. Beethoven. Heavy rock.
Water simply is feeling and a perfect reflection. Thank you, everyone. Water consciousness.